consumer, or they're going after Fortune 1000. So for instance, in the case of Fox, right, very much going after Fortune 1000. We're down there in the in-between. Companies just got started, maybe up to a few thousand employees and so forth. We focus on that area. Then we focus on, building a lot of, great features in our products. So for instance, with Sooner, you can edit a file in the same application. You don't need to install a third-party application to edit files. With Sooner, it's all integrated. Because we work with telcos and so forth, we have the very best security story in the business with zero-redundant data centers. We have regional data centers, we're HIPAA compliant and all that. And we have that because when you work with AT&T, for them to sell a service like ours and for their brand, they're like, Martin, let me tell you, this better works, okay? And I'm going to give you an SLA, and if you're not living up to that SLA, if you lose people's data, you're going to be in trouble. If Dropbox had that sort of setup, they would have a lot of problems today, right? Because every time we look at TechCrunch, there's an issue with security there. So we are sort of gone that way, and then we have been very efficient in our capital usage also because we work with these partners, right? I mean, making a company like AT&T or Rogers or Cisco or whatever, sell a cloud service is difficult. So you need to invest in enabling these companies for success, right? Bottom line is that each of these companies have huge audiences. And if you as a startup can make them just, move a little, it's going to make a huge difference. And that's been the case for us.
Great, thank you. Really impressive story. Marty.
Hi, I'm Marty Beard, the CEO of LiveOps. We're a $125 million software company. We are completely and totally focused on customer service and primarily contact centers. And we think we're really having a significant impact on how customer service is actually happening today. And our vision is, it's not just voice anymore where you call into a contact center. You're emailing, you're chatting, you're tweeting, you're posting on Facebook, you might send in a text. So all of this is happening simultaneously. So it's put a huge amount of stress on the contact center world, which I think more and more we're realizing is one of the epicenters of customer interactions. It's a huge opportunity, but also a potential threat if you don't deal with it well. So LiveOps just comes right into that and offers the applications to help the agent deal with all these challenges. And it's just a pure SaaS model. So we charge per agent per month.
Can you talk a little bit about an application? I mean, 125 million, tremendous. Talk a little bit about a typical application of your product suite.
Yeah, sure.
In a, Hertz does this or whatever. You can.
Absolutely, yeah. No, we sell right into the head of customer service at a large enterprise. Okay, they're usually responsible for the agents in the contact center. And what we're usually doing is we're really displacing the old on-premise world of Avaya, a Genesis, Aspect. You might have heard of some of those. We're just coming in and saying, look, you need to go to cloud and you need to go to multi-channel. So the application is really the platform and the ability to handle what we call channels. That's the LiveOps suite. So in most cases, they're getting rid of an on-premise technology they might have had for 12, 15 years. They're going to cloud. The agents just need a browser. They connect into LiveOps and roll it.
And
so it's pretty simple. I mean, it's similar to the way Salesforce.com started. It's just a pure SaaS business.
And what's the average size of your installation? How many?
I mean, we sell. I would say it's not so much the size of the company as it is the size of the customer service organization. So anywhere from, let's say, 75 agents to thousands. Big customers of ours are like Symantec or Electronic Arts, Salesforce.com, Thomson Reuters, these kind of environments.
And how does something like a tweet get incorporated in? So one of the things I was amazed at, many of us have heard these stories about the person who goes to Southwest, gets bumped from a flight, puts a tweet out there that says Southwest sucks, and someone shows up and hands them a free ticket.
Right. Right.
Can I get a free Southwest ticket?
Right. I think 2 years ago, no, I'm not talking about Southwest, but 2 years ago, a lot of enterprises just ignored it. I mean, literally it was ignored. And what's happened is companies are way more savvy about it. Like, you need to respond very quickly. So what we do is we have the capability to look for certain hashtags, product names, whatever the company tells us, look, this is specifically the phrase or the word that we're looking for. So the agents are now proactively seeing it, and they're responding in real time. But what's happening is they're trying to pivot that interaction from the social world where somebody says about my stocks to, hey, why don't you call me on this number, or let's chat, and I'm going to try to get you out of the social world and into, a more private interaction. So 2 years ago, a little bit of cluelessness about that. Now it's most companies that have any kind of sophisticated roadmap for customer service, or and Twitter in particular is just exploding around customer service, having a huge impact on content.
Really interesting. So how do you, we've got people from a variety of sizes of companies in this room. A lot of entrepreneurs, companies with less than 25 people, company with hundreds, 200s. You got $125 million in sales. So obviously you've grown up to a place where, you've made it, and there's a lot that you can do. Of course, you're looking ahead and you're saying, how do I get to 500 million? How do I get to 1 billion and more? How do I become the category killer in this market? As with any enterprise, you've got a certain amount of resources, money, people, cash, time, that you can devote to doing that. How do you as the CEO, you're 2 years into your role, how do you as the CEO make that decision? Where are you focusing in order to grow that $500 million?
It's a great question, and obviously if I had the exact answer, I'd be. But I think what I do know is you just got to stay focused. Right. I think we're at a point now where there's temptation to really expand globally in a lot of different markets. Let's go here, let's go there, let's go here. There's good reasons that you can come up with to do that. Let's expand the roadmap beyond what we focus on. So there's temptations. I think what I'm trying to do is just stay very focused on our strategy and just very prudent on what markets we go into outside the U.S. And I thought Martin said it really well, which is at the end of the day, if your product isn't really, really stellar, it kind of won't matter, right? I mean, you'll have a certain amount of momentum, but eventually the market will say your product's not really doing what we need. So focus, I just pick one word, say focus.
Great, awesome. So Nick and Martin, I want to talk with you guys about, you're in a similar situation in terms of the size of your company. You have a lot of customers, you've got 2.5 million people on your platform. Where are your respective companies focusing for your future growth? And what's the opportunity cost of doing that once you start?
Yeah, so it's interesting. I mean, we kind of have two audiences. So we have the IT side, so the actual users in our audience with 2.5 million. So we kind of split the.
And those are like CIOs and.
No, so because they're SMBs, they're literally sysadmin, network engineer. The highest we kind of go is director of IT, but there's not a CIO at a 50-person law firm that has 50 people. So we're growing on that side, and so we kind of have a team that's dedicated to getting more of those IT pros. But we've got roughly 1 1/3 of the IT organizations in that space are already using Spiceworks, so it starts to get a little bit more difficult to grow there. Still a lot of opportunity. But where we're really focused is on the vendor side. So we've got 2,300 vendors that are using our platform to reach that IT audience. And so we've got initiatives sort of split out with, so for example, the Microsoft and Dells of the world to engage in more of their business units and participate with more activity in actually trying to reach those IT pros. And then there's just...
And you're getting paid by the vendors, right?
Yeah.
So they pay you, what do they pay you based on?
Yeah, so it's not a service fee. So we've got basically marketing solutions. So let's say you've got a new router or switch that you're trying to sell to these guys, then you'll come up with a marketing program. So it could be advertising, email, as part of that, typically there's a research component to really understand the buying needs, to develop the right positioning. So we'll sort of soup to nuts help you build a marketing program to go, with that initiative that you're trying to do. And so it varies. So, it could be as small as anywhere from $15,000 to $20,000, a quarter, up to, we have clients spending north of $1 million with us, trying to push various initiatives. And so that's a real focus for us, is growing our existing accounts. There's not that many more Microsoft and Dell and Cisco's we can get. We just have to grow those accounts. But we also have lots and lots of new startups like Sooner that are coming through that we need to get a hold of and we need to get in front of. And so we're finding that they've got really interesting stories to tell, and this IT audience is generally underserved in the SMB space, so they don't get the latest technologies that the enterprise guys get. But while they're fragmented, they still have just a massive, massive amount of spend. And so we're trying to help facilitate those interactions.
So it's really interesting in a world where programmatic and real-time buying bidding is hot and it's the way that the industry seems to be going, you guys are engaging in a conversation,
Right.
and